Questions for Michael?
Can you just talk a bit about the process, 35 days leading up to hiring him, and just everything that went into it?
Yeah, you know, when you go through this process, and really you start this process years in advance. Every program, we're looking constantly, trying to evaluate coaches across the country. I don't care if it's lacrosse or men's basketball, but we've been looking at Luke for a while. We've been looking at numerous coaches for a long time and studying, watching them when the game's on. When you see the Kings are on, you watch, try to evaluate and see how the team's doing, but evaluate also the player relationship and how the coaching on the bench goes and all of the above. And this process is just going through it, and that every interview, he was so prepared, knew Florida State, but also more importantly talked about the culture, the fit, and the style of play he would bring, which really excited me. So I tried to stump him sometimes on some questions and interviews, but he was always so thoroughly prepared to talk about his core values and what he was going to bring to Florida State. So we couldn't be happier with the direction of the program.
Was there any trepidation at all that he hadn't been a head coach? And was that something you guys talked about? And how does he go about saying, I'm ready for this, and convincing you he's ready for something like this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Corey. And it is something. That's a question I discussed with him and talked to many people in the NBA about it, talked to many people in collegiate ranks about. But when you look at his background, who he's learned under, and then you look at what he brings, and you talk about the game and what he was going to do, and he talked about where the direction of college basketball was going, which I believe in as well. And you look at how effective he's been able, whether as player development, when he was doing that, and then as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, and just his success in the game of basketball, I knew he was ready. And especially when, once again, you look at who he trained under, and you talk to those people, and you talk about the work he puts in, and and you get to know the type of person he is. I think he's more than ready at his age to take that next step. And if it wasn't going to be us, it was going to be someone. Probably in the NBA. He was on that fast track when I talked to people in the NBA. So when given this opportunity, I really wanted to get to know him, and I have full confidence he's ready for this job.
And how much did it weigh the fact that he is a Knoll, played here for 4 years, a little bit like Link in that sense, that you know it matters to him, that he wants this program, it's his program, and he wants it to be good and great?
It matters. It's a factor. I wouldn't say it's a deciding factor at all. But it is a factor, and it shows his passion, his love for this place, Stevie's love. They're both from Florida. They know the area. They know the state. So it is a factor when we look at it, especially if they're qualified. And you look at his preparation, his qualifications, and everything he brings to the table. But more importantly, as I mentioned, he fits us. Whether you played here or not, if you don't fit the culture we have amongst our head coaches, the culture we have in the department, the university, that's very important to me, that we have a special culture here and that he comes in and fits within that culture.
Before the process of hiring him, do you remember the first time you met him and what stood out from that first meeting?
That's a great question. The first time I met him, he came back maybe 3 years ago,
All-Star
break, to see a game, had a brief 2-minute conversation with him. Met Stevie, welcomed him back, and that was the first time I met him. But I'll tell the story. That same meeting, I'm walking with Leonard Hamilton after the game to the presser, and Leonard just went and he goes, "That's a great coach. Keep your eye on him." And so we did. And through that conversations, as we started this process, it really just that shined. Of how qualified he was and how much he brings to the table.
Michael, did you have any conversations with Luke about what type of commitment and resources he's looking for from your administration?
Yeah, I'm very open to it. Going through this process, you'll learn I'm very transparent. From day one, here's what the budget is, here's where we're going, here's what we're doing staff salary wise, here's the direction we're going, more importantly, what we're going to build on. And so, yes, he's very aware when we have those open discussions. I do that with all my coaches. We're very transparent on where we are, budgets, everything. It's one thing when I hire a new coach, I never want them to come and say, "You did tell me about this." We're very transparent in our discussions.
I've seen a lot of college basketball programs hire general managers. Does Florida State basketball need a general manager?
That's something we talk about, but also it's my style to hire the general. Let him figure out what lieutenants, what the roles of those lieutenants are, and then what the soldiers are going to look like. I concentrate more on the relationship with the CEO of each program, of my head coaches, and then I let them determine how they want to build their program. I don't macromanage in that way. I'm open for suggestions if they ask, but typically this is your program, go run it.
I know you wanted to hire the right person, but how important was it for you to get somebody hired before the season ended, portal open, potential of current players departing, things of those sorts?
You know, that's something Coach Hamilton and I, through this process, he stressed. And we talked about, you know, when because we want to honor him the right way. He is such a great man. He is such a great Seminole. His integrity is off the charts. But Coach Hamilton's like, no, get him here as fast as possible. But for that reason, we have the portal, we have everything going on. Get the coach here as fast as you can. So we thought it was a good timing, portal opening, talking it through our process. We weren't going to rush the process for that reason. We were going to make sure we gave it every consideration and then getting here today so he can start building. We're going to fly and watch the game tomorrow. Looking forward to being in Charlotte and sitting up there and watching the game and how good our guys are prepared to play Syracuse.
How involved was Leonard able to be in the search while his season was going on, obviously? And I guess, what do you think it means to him? I mean, it's a former player of his following in his footsteps.
He's very excited in talking to him, and I continuously would get with Coach Hamilton and say, okay, here's who I'm looking at. Here's who I've talked to. What's their qualities? Any feedback you have? He was very instrumental in giving me feedback of people we were talking to, people I was considering. And so he was involved in the process and gave feedback on Luke, gave feedback on everyone we spoke to. So I would say it was an honor to have him involved, and I think he's really excited about the direction of the process, of where the program's going to be heading.
Following up on that, do you have an idea of what his role might be post-coaching after the season?
We haven't talked about it. We want to get through the season, but I know one of the qualifications of everyone I spoke to was to honor Leonard. And they all were like, oh yeah, I want him around as much as possible. So, you know, I'll leave that up to the head coach.
You have a high opinion of Leonard Hamilton, but what has the last 35 days with him and his process and his selflessness and his grace and it all kind of meant to you?
It just tells you the character of the man and what he means to this program. Me personally, bounce things off of him, honest answers, and you know, he's just a man of such great character. He's a Hall of Famer, and what he's meant to the game of basketball is just truly special, and we want to honor him as much as we can through this process. And it went seamless because he was involved and because he would give me feedback, but also because he was supportive of what we were doing and where we were heading, and having those conversations were very meaningful.
Michael, when you talked to us last month, you mentioned you can't really replace Leonard Hamilton with another Leonard Hamilton.
Correct.
But when you hear Loucks talk and you mentioned all the stuff that he's done, he's a relationship builder. How important was that factor when making this decision, especially in the modern era of college athletics where relationships are so valuable?
Yeah, you talk to Luke and you get to know him, and he reflects the same core values that Leonard has, and that was important to us as well. Leonard does such a great job with this program, and it means so much to him, it means so much to us. We're looking for someone to continue that trajectory of really just getting the program right, moving it along, graduating your student athletes, being great in the community. I mean, everything Leonard stands for, those core values, we were looking for a head coach to continue that and have those same qualities.
Resources for basketball are what they are coming in for Luke. How can he help improve that over the course of time?
Yeah, you know, we're going to be looking to increase. Basketball is important to us. We're going to be looking to increase the resources, build upon what we're already doing, because it is going to be an important sport moving forward. Whether it's the house settlement and everything that's going on, we want to look to make sure that we're supporting basketball, giving it the proper resources to compete against our peers in the ACC and the country. It's an important sport.
How do you see him playing into that development of its resources?
Well, we're very transparent, and you met him. He's going to help us go out and raise some dollars for sure. And he's got a great personality. I think he fits us. Once again, he fits what we're about here at Florida State, and I'm really excited to work and partner with him like I do all my head coaches in going out and trying to obtain the very best resources.
On Jerry's question, it probably helped that he kind of had a lay of the land. He understood what he was walking into because he stayed connected to the program over recent years.
Yeah, in his evaluation of where the program, what it needs, he's going to help me on the basketball side of things, of what is needed, but we want to give him full support. Everything we can do to provide those resources for him to be successful, we're going to do.
Anything else? All right.